Hey y'all, what's up? So today is my follow-up appointment after surgery. I'm anxious to see what they have to say, and I think I get to have this dressing taken off. So let's go in and get started. So I just got back from my appointment at the orthopedic center, and it all went pretty well. I was a little bit nervous when I got out of the car to go walk inside, partly because I had no idea. I knew they were taking the dressing off, but I didn't know what the arm was going to look like. I didn't know what my suture line was going to look like. I was a little bit nervous too. I bruise really easily, so I was expecting my arm to be like black and blue all over. So I was pleasantly surprised when I saw my arm like this. I'll tell you about this in just a minute, but when I got in the building, I got checked in, waited in the lobby for just a few minutes until the nurse called me to the back. They got me situated in a room, and the nurse went ahead and took the ACE wrap that I had in the previous video. She went ahead and took that off, and I just waited for the doctor to come in next. So when the doctor came in, he went ahead and took the rest of the dressing off. That included the cotton layer, some abdominal pads, some 4x4s or dry gauze, and then Xeroform was directly over both of the suture lines. So the dressing itself, when he was taking it off, it wasn't really painful per se, but it was a little bit uncomfortable, especially when it got down to the Xeroform. All Xeroform is antibacterial gauze. It helps keep the wound bed nice and clean, or the suture line clean while it's healing. The reason I know this, I am a nurse and I've done wound care in the past, so I do have experience using it on sutures that are still healing. We would have to do dressing changes on them, skin tears, stuff like that. So it was actually kind of cool to see it being used on myself and how it actually worked, and what it felt like when it was being taken off. As far as when he went to take it off, he had to use some tweezers, and like I said, it wasn't painful, but it is a little bit uncomfortable because it kind of sticks to your skin a little bit. But I will say it did not stick to any of the sutures, so it didn't pull at any of the sutures like a dried piece of gauze would. The Xeroform has a lot tighter weave between the fibers in it, so like a dry piece of gauze, you know, it has those little stringy things, and a lot of times they get left behind in a wound bed. Xeroform usually does not have any of that that's left behind in the wound bed. So when you go to pull it off, it's a nice clean surface instead of having all those little stringy things that you have to fish out of a wound. So that's nice. So once he got the dressing off, he looked at the suture line and decided that he was going to go ahead and take the stitches out today, which is perfectly fine. I had a feeling they probably were going to come out today. Stitches are usually in for like 7 to 14 days. So it was within the time limit, or the time frame that you usually would have them out. So they went and got a suture removal kit and started with the elbow. He snipped like a little, I think there was like a little knot or something right here, snipped that off, and then they pulled it out through one end, which was pretty cool because it only took a couple seconds and I barely felt that one. The wrist, however, I got a little bit lightheaded, almost like I was gonna pass out, not gonna lie. I made the mistake of looking at it while he was pulling at it, and I do not like looking at my own blood. I don't like looking at anything that's been stuck in my body, needles, whatever it is, which is crazy because I am a nurse, but I don't know, I can't explain it. I do fine with wound care on other people. I do fine with IVs, pretty much the whole 9 yards when it's someone else, but when it comes to myself, I don't know, it makes me a little queasy. So they ended up getting the one in my wrist out, which it was tiny. It was like a little teeny tiny stitch. And then from there, they got it cleaned up. They put some cleaner around it. And the elbow, that's when he put these steri strips on. And then the wrist, that's when he put the Band-Aid on, which, as you can see, try to get it close. There's the incision. And you can see my elbow is still pretty bruised. It goes down into my forearm, the wrist as well. These are all bruises, as well as all this right here. These right here, these little dots, those are not, those are marks that they did, I'm assuming prior to my surgery, because I didn't have those when I went into the actual OR, but obviously now I have these lovely little dots on my hand. but they're just with a marker. So when I get in the shower tonight, I'm probably going to try to get those off, and I'm also going to try to get all the rest of this cotton off, which, as you can see, I've been kind of picking it off. I've almost got all of it done, but I will clean the rest of it up when I get in the shower. And yes, I said shower. I am super excited. I do not have to take a shower with that trash bag on my arm anymore. I can take a regular shower. They just said the only thing was just not to soak this in water or this. So pretty much get it wet, get it cleaned off, and then dry it off, and I'd be good to go. As far as other swelling, I don't really have a ton of swelling right here in my forearm, but down here by my wrist and right here in my knuckles, it is pretty swollen. He did tell me to try to take some socks or something that's balled up and work on making a fist, which I can hold these, obviously, you can see. So that's at least good. That's just a pair of gloves. As far as like physical therapy, I start with a hand therapist next week. So I'm kind of excited to see how I'll progress over the next few weeks with therapy to regain my strength and dexterity in that hand. I know it's going to be a long journey, but I am up for the challenge, and I'm just hoping for the best with everything. As far as my, like, the wounds themselves, they said the steri strips could come off in about 3 days, and the band-aid just to change it as needed. I'm also supposed to leave my arm in a sling for a couple days, and I'm also out of work for another week. I think when I do go back to work, I can go back next Tuesday, but they said not to use my right arm for anything at work. So I guess over the next few weeks I'll do therapy, and then at my follow-up appointment at the end of the month, I guess they'll determine whether or not I can use my hand at work, which I'm kind of glad I'm out for another week, because having this exposed with no dressing on kind of scares me a little bit. When my husband got home, I was like guarding it, kind of worried that he might bump into it, so it is still tender. I'm just going to keep icing it, make sure I elevate it, take Tylenol as needed, and plenty of rest, and just keep trucking along. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will keep you updated week to week of my progress and how everything's going. But thanks for watching.